Hello there, Jose Rodriguez here. In this video, I'm just going to tell you a story that actually ended up on a happy note, so that's always good. For the last several weeks, and this must have been a jinx because I have been reading and receiving emails from users of a 3800 who have been having clogging problems with several of the channels, and they all had different channels that were clogging. And all of a sudden, my trusty, perfectly working 3800, even though I do have two, and this particular one that's in front of my camera right now is my oldest of the two, and it has over 15,000 prints on it. Now, so that's, according to EPSON, pretty close to the end of its life. Now, it began to clog. It began to lose almost completely my whole cyan channel and I believe one of the light blacks. And then all of a sudden started losing most of the magenta channel. And it was very strange because I could not get it to come back. In the past, I was able to get it to come back by just simply a cleaning cycle and everything would be fine and dandy, perfect nozzle check. Had a couple of little bars on one of the colors that were deflected, and that's usually a case of some physical change on the actual orifice of a particular nozzle, so it will cause a deflected squirt, if you will. And that will, if you look at your nozzle check, the line will not be perfectly aligned. It'll be there, but it'll be sort of like off to an angle. Well, make a long story short, and I'll try to make this as short as possible. I couldn't get the darn thing to clear itself. So I thought, oh boy, let me start looking for other options, maybe a new printer, maybe one of the new P800 models, but again, I'd rather not. That's $1,200. So what I did was I actually did power cleans. Nothing would cause it to clear. So then I did the soak of the printhead over paper towels, soaked with Windex overnight, did it a couple of times, a couple of cycles of this process, cleaned the purge pad by running Windex through it. This printer, unlike others, the Windex will actually run right through the purge pad directly into the waste cartridge. Did that. Clean the wiper blade, as you have seen me do in one of my videos. And the next day I tried to run a nozzle check, and really there was not much improvement. In fact, after doing the Windex soak over the paper towel trick, it got even worse. Just about every channel except yellow was missing, large percentages of lines. And I thought, oh Lord. So I went ahead and just let it rest, and I just, waited a couple of days. I cleaned it again with the paper towel trick. Again, nothing. So no improvement. So then, as a last resort, and I had read somewhere that someone was having problems with a purge unit not working properly. In other words, cleaning cycles were not actually sucking ink out of the printhead as it should have been doing. And so therefore, no change occurred. So even though you could hear it purging away, no ink was being drawn out. So I said, aha. So I had my printer off at the time. I powered it on and I pulled the plug off the rear of the printer once the printhead began to move. Looked at my purge pad again, and this time what I did was I have some special long cotton swabs, and I really cleaned the periphery of the purge unit. In other words, the gasket frame of it. I went all the way around it and cleaned it as well as possible, and then I let the print head come back to it, and after powering it back on, of course, and did a nozzle check, and I had a few more nozzles that I didn't have in the previous one. I said, ooh, wow. So I went into my computer. I didn't want to do a power clean. Went to my computer to perform the regular cleaning and came back, and I had 99.9% of all my nozzles firing. I've had a burnt out, what I believe is a burnt out magenta nozzle that's been missing for darn near a year, and no problems, no visible effect on my prints. So what I think happened was that my head was not properly sealing onto the purge unit, and so either air was getting into it, or something was going on, and of course cleaning cycles were not working because maybe the head wasn't being sealed completely onto the purge unit gasket. So of course any vacuum that the purge unit would create would go wasted because the whole sealing between the head and the purge unit was leaking. It was not being sealed properly. And that is my theory, because how in the heck would it just revive itself after me just wiping the outside periphery of of that purge unit. So I wanted to share this with you guys because I know that it just seemed like this could not possibly be the cause, but I believe it was. I was getting ready to take this puppy apart and do all kinds of drastic things. I had a set of refillable carts filled with Windex, ready to just run initiation after initiation. That is the process that you can perform if you have the adjustment program for this printer. You can run a reinitialization, meaning that it'll think that it has empty ink lines and it'll pump almost 30 ml per channel right through the printer. And that is a good thing to do in case you have a persistent air problem in one of your lines. That's the only way to solve that. But that's another story. I was getting ready to do that though until I just simply cleaned the gasket or the frame that seals around the nozzle plate of the print head. And after one single cleaning, boom, I'm back in business again. And you can see the prints that I've been making with it. There's not a single line or banding, even on the blue. And blue, a lot of people have problem with blues banding. And again, no problem at all. This is EPSON Ultra, I believe, luster. Here's Cape Canaveral in Florida. And this is Lake Michigan. So you can see the prints are beautiful, not a problem at all. And I'm happy as a boy in Christmas because I really thought this printer was gone. Now I really don't know how many more prints I'm going to be able to get out of it. It's well over 15,000 right now. But it's now printing like new. I'm going to go ahead and move these out of the way. Let me give you one last look at these. I want you to see the blues, the oranges, how beautiful and vibrant they are. Let me see if I can get these reflections out of the way. There you go. This paper is quite lustrous. And of course there's a bit of a problem with gloss differential, even on prints printed with OEM inks. And I think you should be able to see how beautiful that print is turning out. We'll let it finish and I'll prop it back up on the rear of the printer and try to shoot it so that you don't get too many reflections. It is very, very lustrous material. This is Red River's Ultra Plus Gloss, and it is indeed a very glossy paper. I apologize, this is about the best I can do. Anything else would reflect on it. I don't have a good set of lights in my print room right now, but you can see how nice that print came out. Let me get up closer. It might be difficult to see on video, but there's absolutely no banding at all, and that is great news. Okay, so I hope that you might be able to try this with your printer if it's acting up the way mine was. And again, this just came out practically out of the air. I had no idea that it could be a leaky purge unit against my printhead, not sealing properly, in other words. Alright, so if you like this video, please like it. Don't forget to share with your friends. Please subscribe, I really need your support. So until the next time, happy printing and bye-bye.